Katie Gaus and Doug Plagens. Doug Plagens just came in the door. He's sweaty. He was at BB&T Center. Doug, what were you doing at BB&T Center?
Well, what I was doing at the BB&T Center, we were testing some radio equipment. We were testing our connections with Toronto. I shouldn't say test. I guess testing equipment. The equipment's all there. It's all set up like normal. But testing our connections from Toronto, making sure that we can see everything, making sure we'll be able to hear everything, making sure that we will be able to bring you guys the action once things get going with the exhibition on Wednesday. We'll have the exhibition on 560 WQAM at noon on Wednesday, and then get things going for real coming up Saturday at 4:00 with a 3:30 pregame show. So, that was where I was tonight, making sure everything works is what we're doing.
So as Doug said, we do have playoff hockey coming up this Saturday,
And
game 1.
Everything works, so don't worry about it.
You will be able to hear Doug on the radio. I believe I'll be joining for After 40. Is that coming back, Doug?
Yes, After 40 is back.
So we'll all be on the radio. We'll all be hanging out.
And tomorrow night on our flagship radio home, 560 The Joe, we've got a playoff preview spectacular, if you will. And both of you will be hopping on board during that during the 8 p.m. hour. It's going to be 7 to 9. So
if you're watching a replay of this stream on YouTube, I'm sorry, but you missed the special pregame.
All
you missed
of
all
it.
of this.
This is why you got to watch live.
Sensitive. This is why you got to watch live. Katie, how's it going?
It's good. Just hanging out, pretty pumped. Been watching a lot of promos and things to get me geared up for the hockey coming up this week. Really excited. Brushing up on all my knowledge. Got to remember who plays on this team. No, just kidding. I'm excited. I can't wait. I've been loving all the Zoom calls with the guys, and everybody's pumped. It sounds like the bubble is the place to be.
The bubble looks awesome. The big news: no positive tests after during phase 3, which is great. So everyone's getting to the bubble healthy. It looks like we're gonna do this and hopefully be there for a long time on a deep run. And Katie and I both wearing some Panther swag. Doug, I think Doug's just in a polo. I think Doug just.
I just have a generic blue polo on right now. Actually, I was in business attire today. I have a blue polo, gray slacks, and that's that. I was running around, and I walked in my front door approximately 83 seconds before I booted up this laptop to hop on here. So it's business casual on my end today.
And speaking of cool Panthers gear, you can go to Pantherland online and get yourself some qualifier promo merchandise, some really nice Panthers.
I think I'm going to buy the shirt because when the heck else are we going to sell a Panthers qualifier t-shirt?
This is a piece of history.
It's a
we'll never
collector's
get
item.
this again. Yes,
I'm going to have to
head
get
over
one.
to Pantherland.
I love it. But like I said, guys, we're doing exactly what we did last week. We're rewatching episode 3 here. Last week we did episode 2. So we'll just get going along here, watching the episode, and then pausing to kind of give you guys some more insights, some behind-the-scenes stuff, some behind-the-scenes of the behind-the-scenes stuff, shall we say. And if you have any questions about what you're watching in the chat or just about the Panthers in general, throw them in the chat. We'll get to them during these pauses. We love talking to you guys. So it's going to be great. We already have our first question before we get started. Doug, is Dono going to be on tomorrow?
Dono and I are co-hosting tomorrow.
Dono will be back, confirmed by Doug Plagens. But let's just get rolling here with episode 3 of Panthers Uncaged. If it's a little loud, let us know. We can turn it down, but I think the sound should be fine.
Previously on Panthers Uncaged.
We're using a saliva-based test only because jamming a swab up a guy's nose twice a week is not the most comfortable.
It's definitely different, just seeing all the.
So if you remember last week, it was all about the Panthers getting back to the arena, going through the testing,
and
all of that great stuff.
Like your testing as soon as you get in the ring,
which we now know worked and went great.
It's a different feeling.
I'm so excited. It kind of reminds me of the first day of school feeling. I'm over the moon excited and excited to have an opportunity.
And we're about to see a lot more Keith Yandel.
When you turn 35, you realize that nobody's guaranteed playoffs, but your window's closing kind of quick. The opportunity to do that is as exciting as it gets.
Doesn't get you pumped up.
Gets down a little bit. That's my ringtone.
Did you compose this, Jameson?
Yes.
Did you write the score?
Yes. I also came up with that title, but let's be quiet here and just let this marinate for a bit. This is one of my favorite things we've done.
Oh, nice save. I think you say Keats when you say Keats.
With Phase 2 of the NHL's return to play plan now in full force, the Florida Panthers have begun to ramp up their preparations for the postseason.
Right away, Weegsy. Right away. Wait for the whistle. Nice. Oh! Apple. Apple. That was sick apple by me. Ooh.
For the most part,
Yeah! Oh my.
the cobwebs have been shaken off, and a sense of competitiveness has returned to the enthusiastic group. And with informal skates and workouts across the league getting off to a fairly smooth start, the NHL has doubled the amount of personnel allowed on the ice, from 6 to 12.
Yeah! Yanzi! That's a quick one. That's on tape. That's 3 goals in 2 days for Yanzi. 4 goals, 2 days.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a fresh start. We want to pick up where we left off. We were doing fair.
Let's just get our first pause there because, like I said, that's my favorite intro we've had yet. Out of all the mics that we do, I think Jens is by far the best just because he is Keith Yandel. But I think one of the funnest things, too, is looking back, now knowing that we made it through all this and we made it through camp, like it's just kind of even more fun to watch this, knowing that this actually all kind of works out in the end and we actually get to go to Toronto. Dougie, what are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Katie.
I was going to say, no, you're exactly right. It's like when we were watching this originally, we were all still in that, like, holding our breath, like, okay, like, I know they're having fun, but I hope everything is actually working out. And now here we are. We made it.
That's what it was. Everybody was just, everybody was just cautiously optimistic the whole time because we'd gone so long without seeing live sports that we couldn't wait. But, as we got closer and closer, we started to see it all develop in front of us. And we realized that this was going to happen. There was light at the end of the tunnel. And then you see Keith Yandel there showing why he's really become not just a Panthers mic'd up legend, but he's renowned across the National Hockey League as one of the great mic'd up candidates, if you will,
Funniest player in the league.
For anything. So yeah, he's taken home the title. He's got the hardware. So just you get to see a little snippet of that right there as well.
We see it every day.
We do, and it's great. Once again, thanks everyone for chatting and viewing right now. Allie just joined, H. Quinn, Jay Froxhawk, all the people in the chat, and Tommy G. Harding for our first song of the night in the chat. Really appreciate it. And let's get back to it.
Fairly well before this hiatus happened. It's 3 to 5 games to get in the playoffs against a pretty good team. So there's a lot of preparation that still needs to happen, and we're excited to get off to a hot start.
Another apple! Another apple! Take wristers so we can actually take wristers.
Even the team's rigorous coronavirus testing has become second nature.
Love the mat.
It's a pretty same every day with that, and we're starting to get accustomed to that. That's obviously new, and
I don't think any team in the league has more Boston Red Sox hats.
What we need to be doing, we need to be tested. Everyone needs to be safe. It's obviously still out there.
You can take your mask off. You're going to take this tube out. Okay, and then I want you're going to spit into the tube, into the top part. Yep. And what we need.
It's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's okay. I understand it is what it is. It's a protocol, and the league trying to do everything to save the players, to support the health system and stuff. So they came up with that protocol not because of having fun with it. It's to save us, protect us.
A lot of professional people are kind of guiding our league, and that's kind of just how you got to approach it. You got to trust the people that are in those positions, that they're going to do their job and they're going to make
Brett
sure
Connolly and Bobrovsky, both fans of the Black Polo.
I think that
Very
we've
stylish.
done a good job. It seems that I feel very safe.
Also,
in the
I miss
facilities,
Bob's flow
with our guys. So it's been a good start, I think, to hopefully when we can play.
Despite the circumstances, things are once again starting to feel normal at the rink.
the normalcy is definitely coming, and we're feeling it, and we feel comfortable out there now with 4 skates under our belt. So it's exciting, it's fun. We're ready to start challenging ourselves out there.
A little Drieger mic up time.
1-0.
Ooh.
Whoa! The old double puck. Nice, dude. Oh, why am I going again? That's sneaky. Whoa! That's a sinker.
He's one of the
Muncie,
most
you
chatty
ripped one
guys
off.
on
Yeah,
the
you're
team.
cheating high glove. You still beat me high glove. That's never good. That's never good, no. I was like, oh, I got this one. He's going high glove. Poof, high glove.
Phew. Good time for our next pause there. Drieg's hilarious guy. We'll get more to. There's more Drieger talk coming up this episode. We won't get too into it. But Frank Petrano, good to see him there, as Doug and I call him, Franklin the Tanklin.
Franklin the Tanklin.
One of our favorites. Top line left winger heading into the playoffs. It looks like that's going to be exciting. Dougie, just some thoughts on the Tanklin here.
Well, we've talked about it time and time again. This is a guy that plays in every situation, that's got a chance to really be a factor coming up in this series. And he's got that playoff quality about him in that he's got the speed. He goes to the corners. He throws hits. And one of those guys, the guys that come through in the playoffs a lot, the guys that, even in a game where Frank's not on the score sheet, he still is making big contributions to the game. So a guy that has a chance to be a big factor, and he's looked good, practicing on that top line.
And Katie, I know you're also a big fan of the Tanklin as well.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you look at him, it's, another guy that has come from Boston and really found himself with the Panthers. He has that style. He's really very intense on the ice, and with the speed combined with the physicality, I mean, he's definitely a big threat. Similar kind of styles to Achari. Seeing them both out there, I think they're going to be awesome in the playoffs.
And a little bit ago, you saw Bobrovsky doing that little kind of being talked through the spit test there. The Panthers, like we learned last episode, did a saliva test, and they did a lot of that. They did that, I believe every other day or close to it. So the testing procedures, like we said, in retrospect, in hindsight, it all worked out, and it's great. But the guys really were put through quite a lot there in terms of their testing, which is really cool to see in terms of behind-the-scenes stuff.
Unfortunately, while the Panthers' ice den has become a safe haven for players, the same can't be said for the rest of South Florida. And the moment they leave the rink, they are faced with an increasingly harsh reality. Even after an extended lockdown, coronavirus cases around the state are spiking again.
It's another day of record-setting COVID-19 cases in Florida, with nearly 11,500 new infections reported just today. That's the highest daily count recorded in our state since the pandemic started. And it's part of a troubling trend we've been seeing now for several weeks. The total number of cases in Florida is now at more than 190,000.
For players, the sudden increase in positive cases also serves as a harsh reminder. As long as COVID-19 is out there, the New York Islanders aren't the only thing they have to game plan for.
I think you just got to try and be as safe as possible, and just do your testing. Obviously, we're fortunate that we're being tested every few days, and so if we do have it, we'll know about it right away, and we can handle that.
Teddy sighting.
Panthers head equipment manager Teddy Richards there on the left.
It's nice to get that email that says you're negative every couple days, so that's obviously a positive for us, and for the families, the people with families and kids and all that, to know that it's not in your household. So it's just about being safe and handling it the right way, and just keep doing what we're doing.
Dryden Hunt just in awe of Stevie there.
I think guys would be
like, whoa, man.
There he goes.
Oh, there he goes.
There and that kind of stuff. If we're not smart and we're going and doing whatever, we're away from the rink, it's not going to work. It's kind of, it takes the testing, it takes the stuff at the rink, but it also takes people being smart away from the rink and minimizing risk. And I think guys understand that if we're going to come back here and start doing training camp and try and play some playoff hockey, that it'd be kind of foolish to come all the way down here and then mess it up by, you know, you guys understand it's a little bit of a sacrifice, you know, even away from the rink, and I think guys are willing to do that.
Once again, stick tap to all the guys for doing just that, you know, not being out on Los Silhouettes, not putting themselves in bad positions, and everyone getting to the bubble healthy. You really got to give the guys a lot of credit, because no one, I mean, yes, they had some guidelines. They would be, you know, everyone told them, you know, don't do that, but it was still up to them. They were in full control, and they all did a great job of just, you know, sticking to that regiment, doing everything they can to, you know, not put themselves in a bad spot, which you love to see.
Yeah, and props to Sevier. He was another player along with Matheson that helped out with a lot of that NHL Players Association work, which is no easy task with everything they had to go over. So big props to the two of them for putting a lot of that workload on their plate.
And I got to ask, Doug, you love the gym. Does this just makes you anxious to see all this gym footage, knowing that you have been limited in the gym during the quarantine?
Yeah, you know, I'm obviously a big gym enthusiast. I've found you know, some ways to you know, keep the fitness regiment going. So I've been able to do that plenty. But that's the thing you see with these guys. They not only do they not need to be told twice. They're such professionals. These guys really don't need to even be told, you know, how to you know, take things seriously, be responsible, whether there's a coronavirus or not. These guys know what's on the line, and they know what's at stake, and they know what, you know, success in the playoffs can do for everybody, whether it's the team, whether it's individuals. There's so much on the line, not even the playoffs, just in the regular season. I've been impressed with just the professionalism of everybody I've encountered across the National Hockey League. So it's no surprise that we're seeing that on display right here.
With South Florida struggling to contain the coronavirus, players that left the state earlier in the quarantine are in no hurry to get back before training camp gets underway in July. At this point,
so stick tap to Katie Gaus here for getting us this footage. Katie, how did you procure this footage of Mike Hoffman?
In Canada, players like
big shout out to his trainer, Tyler Taylor, who really provided us with a lot of cool insight from his training experience. He is the trainer, and he filmed all of it. It was awesome.
My gym has been doing some outdoor stuff, which fit the parameters, but I've actually just been going to my buddy's house, who I quarantined at when I first came home. He's actually got a pretty good little garage gym set up. So, yeah, I took a picture of what he had, and I sent it to Mike Donahue, our strength coach, and then also my strength coach back here. And
it looks like every suburban gym
some workouts I could do, and they've been great, actually.
Windsor, Ontario on that hat.
And then obviously once the
right across the river
from
where I grew up.
I've been jumping back on the ice. I think I've been on the ice 8 times now since the skates have started. So, yeah, starting to feel pretty good, getting ready to get back.
We all have great routines where we're at, so it's kind of, you know, doesn't matter where we are right now. We could be in Florida doing the same thing, or be at home and do the same thing as well. So we're all pretty anxious to get down there. So we're trying to figure out a good date. My trainer sort of took his gym and brought it to his house, and it's kind of just an outdoor gym, kind of out in the country. So we're secluded out there, but it's a good setup. We go there at 9 a.m, usually Monday through Friday. And then after that, the skates have been open. There's a rink here that's been open.
I was picturing Weeks now working out at like on a jungle gym, just going hard.
Skate all month.
The main reason why I went home to start with is I knew I'd have a place to train, and you know, pretty much what we're focusing on is just you know, typical summer routine, just to get a little bigger and stronger. Yeah, he's one of my best friends.
That right there is his trainer, Tyler. Awesome guy.
And
hashtag Katie's
trainer
Connections.
has an awesome facility that's right near my house, so everything works out pretty well together. And you know, like I said, we got everything there that we need, and a good group that we can train with as well. Did a lot of sled pulls, pushes, which is great for your legs, opposed to squatting, where it can kind of be tough on your back. So we try to, you know, stick to the sleds as much as possible, but pretty much just trying to get bigger and stronger, and, you know, a lot of weight training, work on mobility a little bit.
While some players in Canada are holding off on their return, many of the team's European players don't have the same luxury due to the NHL's regulations on quarantining.
This might be the longest I've ever gone without being on a
Acquired by
plane.
the Panthers at the trade deadline in February, Lucas Wallmark
Wally.
has spent the past few months
Wally.
living in Sweden,
Wally.
a country that has made headlines for its handling of the coronavirus.
Most of Europe has been under coronavirus lockdowns, but Sweden is not. There are some restrictions out there, but schools and businesses, including restaurants and hair salons, are open.
Sweden, they didn't shut down the country.
We'll pause for some Wally talk after this.
They had it open. It was a little bit on your own. They said they're gonna keep everything open, but it's up to you what you want to do and that. So everything was kind of normal, except no like big events and nothing like that. But I would say at the same time, people was pretty good to be home, even if the restaurants and bars and stuff like that was open. I think overall they did a good job to be home and not be out that much. So but overall it was a big difference. I had to quarantine and then I had to do a test every second day before I could I enter the ice and be back with the boys. So I had to do a quarantine. I think it was 8 days. I mean, it wasn't too bad.
That's a great shot.
It was all right. But I'm glad I'm done with it now.
For players that remain abroad, it's been...
So quick Wally chat. We have a question in the chat from H. Quinn. Is Wally a team nickname for him? That he came with the nickname Wally from Carolina. He might have had that name probably ever. I assume he's had that name ever since he got over here, because typically they don't get nicknames like that over in Europe. So typically when they come to North America, they just get the whatever E name or they have whatever Y name. So he's probably been Wally for a couple seasons now, but I've never heard him say he doesn't like it. So to us, he's still Wally. I think he appreciates it. I think it makes things easy. But Lucas Wallmark, you kind of heard him talk about it there a little bit. Spent most of the quarantine in Sweden, had a bit more freedom than a lot of his teammates had over here in North America, which means got a little bit more time on the ice, a little bit more time in the gym, and because of that, maybe a guy that's going to come out here having a hot start in the playoffs right now on that third line with Brian Boyle and Brett Connolly. Good experienced line there. Katie, you've had a chance to see Wally. We only saw him for 7 games with the Panthers, but you've had a chance to see footage. You had a chance to talk to him. Just your thoughts on what Wally brings to this team.
Well, first of all, you can see it just on that footage there. Like, other than, the on-ice stuff, he's just such a good presence in the room. And when we got him from Carolina, I remember some of the first comments I saw were just, just so much love for him. Take care of him. He's a treasure. And I mean, you see it. Other than Mark Pysyk, I don't think anybody smiles just as much. He is a happy guy. He brings a lot of good energy to the room. But on the ice, like you mentioned, great on that line with Connolly. We interviewed him the other day on Zoom, and he said he's really enjoyed working with him and getting that experience. But you're exactly right. He's newer, but he has that extra time from being in Sweden. So I could definitely see him making a big impact.
And Doug, I mean, you look at kind of what Wally brings a little bit, and he did tell us the other day he had not packed before. I hope he found time to pack. So we asked him after the last day of training camp. He had not packed yet, but he's into horse racing, which is interesting, because so is Joel Quenneville, but he said they'd never connected on that. So maybe when they're in, this bubble for 2 months, maybe Coach Q and Wally will end up developing a nice horse racing relationship. But Dougie, you look at X Factors, you look at guys like Lucas Wallmark and maybe Eric Holla, another guy that came over. He's going to have a huge role as the team's second line center, at least to start. Mm-hmm. What do you like about those two deadline guys, even though we didn't really see much of them, heading into the pause?
First thing that stands out is experience. Lucas Wallmark, I mean, if we're going to start with him, he's who we were just talking about, Lucas Wallmark. He has played deep into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Carolina went to the conference final last year. He has seen what those big games look like. So right there, he brings in, for a young guy, he brings in some experience. Eric Holla, whether it's with Minnesota, with Vegas, wherever he's been, he has played deep into the playoffs. So he knows what that stage feels like. You can't put a price on that experience at this time of the year. So I think both of those, just with that experience for a couple of guys that are still young guys, to be able to have that experience, that's huge. And the other thing I've thought while we're on the topic of horse racing, I think Zoom call is going to be the name of a racehorse at some point, because everybody has been saying Zoom call a lot over the course of the last few months.
I guess it's a future. Well, that's a future Derby winner right there. But before we start again, I'd like to point out Brady Keeper about to ruthlessly attack Chris Dreger here. You can see going low, going for the legs. But that's why he's got the padding. I think he'll be fine.
Hard to ignore the news coming out of South Florida, especially when it hits close to home.
Florida shattered yet another record in coronavirus cases today with more than 10,000 new cases.
Honestly, it is a little alarming just to see the spikes that have been going on. Obviously, as a state, Florida is definitely kind of more of like a beach state, and everyone wants to be out and about, and it's hard to tell people to shelter in place in a state like that. So I understand in some ways, but it's just because everything back home is still a little, it's still kind of, we've been able to expand our circle of friends to 10 people, but it's still kind of social distance and everything. But so yeah, you see that on the news.
I want that big rig
it's
charters
in the back
hat
of your head, but
so bad.
I love it.
The team's taking every precaution, and we'll be smart when we're back down there. So it shouldn't be too big of a worry, I don't think.
While players are doing their best not to worry, the news that several Lightning players and staff
This feels like a
members had
lifetime
tested
ago.
positive for COVID-19
It really does.
was impossible to ignore.
NHL's Tampa Bay Lightning had 5 positive
Holy.
tests a week
Goldie.
and a half into players
Steve
returning
Goldstein
to the
almost
ice.
back on your
3
airwaves.
players and 2 team staffers
He and
tested
Randy Mulder
positive.
will be calling
We were
the
told
playoff
about
games
it.
and the exhibition
just,
game, of course.
Just reiterating to
Miss
us
hearing
that
that voice
obviously
all
it's
day,
still
every
out
day.
there, and that we need to be careful and avoid crowds still. Like even for us, just try to be smart about it. It's obviously a scary situation, and lots of information out there, but ultimately just trying to, the training staff is just trying to make sure that we're being extra cautious, or it will be more difficult for us to end up playing. So we're just trying to be as patient and safe as possible so that we can all get together and all be healthy, and we can play and finish it. Hopefully we can have a better idea going forward next season about how we're going to handle this, but obviously that's not what we're thinking about. We're thinking about finishing the season, so hopefully everything keeps going the way it's been.
I would love Brett Connolly to read a book on tape.
Still, even as the pandemic picks
I could
up
listen to
steam,
him for
players
hours.
are determined
So
to
soothing.
push ahead. With training camp fast approaching, players know that they will have to begin narrowing their focus, turning their attention away from the coronavirus and towards things they can control. When
I'd rather
camp
hear Mark
begins,
Pysyk read it
Coach
for the
Joe
giggles.
Quimville will arrive, and there will be roster spots to be won, with none being more important than the team's battle for starting goaltender.
Panthers goaltending coach Rob Tallis.
And despite a rocky showing in the regular season, the team's 2-time Vezina Trophy winning goaltender, Sergei Bobrovsky, is eager to show he can return to form and reclaim the crease.
Well, he's stayed here. He's made sacrifices. He's another guy that works extremely hard. He was disappointed with his season up to now. I think he'll, he's something to prove, and that's a good thing. So I expect him to be at his top of his game, and when he's at the top of his game, you have a chance to win. So we're counting on him, we're relying on him, and we expect big things from him.
Quick pause. Shout out to Navy Panther for joining the chat. How's it going? Thanks for joining, watching this lovely episode with us. But I got to point out, too, breaking news a couple hours before the episode. Sergei Bobrovsky is the Panthers nominee for the King Clancy Memorial Trophy this season. It's basically the NHL's humanitarian award for players. And, of course, Bobrovsky, very deserving, donated $100,000 of his own money to BB&T Center part-time staff, at the start of the pandemic, also donated thousands of N95 masks to first responders down here. So he's been, great off the ice ever since he got here. And, of course, heading into the playoffs, we all expect him to be great once again on the ice. And before we talk, goaltenders, the episode's going to do a lot of that here. So we'll let that roll out, and then we'll have our little discussion afterwards.
Bob makes some saves that you can't wrap your head around a lot. So, he's proven that he can take on the best teams in the league and succeed. So, yeah, definitely, having Bob back there behind us, it gives us a little more confidence to play the way we want to play. And yeah, it should be a great test for everyone.
Yeah, his routine's pretty intense.
it's the most in-depth routine I've ever witnessed, and
Loving that shirt.
He's also an art collector.
I've got a pretty good routine. It's pretty extensive, and I look at him and I'm doing like a quarter of what he's doing. So it's a bit of a wake-up call for that. But yeah, when I watch Bob, I see his work ethic off the ice and his determination, towards every day practice. So I've noticed that and taken some of that and put it into my routine.
Doug, have you
One of the
adopted
most
any
surprising
of that in your
stories
routine?
in the NHL this year. Chris Drieger came
I don't
out
have that kind of
seemingly
balance.
nowhere
Need to work
help
on
the
it.
Panthers while Bobrovsky battled
The
through
core.
injuries.
Shot on goal, Drieger with his first save as a Panther.
Called up from the AHL to make the first start of his
throwback to
NHL
that
career
stash.
in November. The journeyman goaltender went on to finish the season with an exceptional 7-2-1 record. And despite the long pause, Drieger is heading into training camp with a hot hand.
Driegs, what a story he is. He's very focused and he knows what it takes to, step in there and win for us. It's not easy, coming in as a backup goalie and trying to win for us. So he's done a great job for us, and it's the same thing, him and Bobrovsky. It doesn't matter who's in net. I think we all feel great who's ever playing goalie for us.
So like Weeks said there's no wrong answer for the Panthers in that. Obviously, it looks like Sergei Bobrovsky is going to be the guy in Game 1 against the Islanders, and he's proven it a million times over. He can absolutely take over games, especially in the playoffs like we saw last year when he helped the Blue Jackets sweep the top seed of Lightning out of the playoffs, which was an all-time moment, all-time series, and for an all-time underdog. So great expectations here for Bob heading to the postseason, but kind of looking at the season Driegs had, guys, once again, it feels like forever ago, because it was almost forever ago at this point, but you saw he had that mustache there. He got called up in November, so he had that Movember mustache when he won his first ever start against the Predators. Looking back, Doug first, what do you remember of that moment and kind of Driegs' season here as a whole?
Well, I think the first thing that stands out, was it November 30th? Was that the date of the shutout in his first start?
It was late November
against
the Preds.
Nashville.
3-0 win. 26 saves?
I think it was a 27-save shutout.
Yeah.
He was so calm. I think that was what stood out for me the most. And you see it kind of just from his general demeanor right there when you see him talking. But he had just a calmness and a composure, and that stood out. And what that comes from, I mean, he's just generally a calm, just such a down-to-earth, just good guy. But also comes from a lot of experience in a lot of different places. It's been a winding road for him to get to the National Hockey League. He's been, a number of different places in a couple of different leagues, and he's a guy that's really taken advantage of an opportunity and just run with it. And you could tell he's a guy that just knows how to, it sounds cliche, but he knows how to put himself in the moment. He knows how to seize the moment, take an opportunity and run with it. He's done exactly that. And I think it all starts with not just being a good goaltender, because that certainly is a prerequisite here, but a calmness and a composure that he's got about him. And it reverberates throughout everybody when he's out there, just such a calm guy.
And our researchers in the chat confirm it was on the 30th. So thank you, everyone in the chat, for helping us out there. Katie, looking at Driegs, kind of an unsung hero this season. I don't even think he was an unsung hero. You look at what he did, 7-2-1 record. That's 15 points there that Driegs helped this team get when they really needed it. You don't have those points, you're not in the playoffs. So, when Sergei Bobrovsky was injured, he came up big, spent about 6 seasons in the minors trying to find his game. So, he's relishing this opportunity. And like Ted said, just a great guy. Any good convos with Driegs this season, Katie?
Oh man, Driegs is one of my absolute favorite guys on the whole team. Just, it doesn't matter where you are or what's going on. If you stop and chat with him, he will have a full-blown conversation with you to the point where you're almost wishing you had not even said anything, because he will chat you up. It's wonderful.
There's no small talk, only big talk with him.
You remember in a previous episode of Territory Talk, we talked about what Panthers would be good to have around if you were like stuck on a desert island, like Gilligan's Island situation.
Yes.
And we said Chris Drieger would be a good candidate just because he'd probably find a way to fix the situation.
And if not, he would keep you talking the entire time. You'd forget you were even on the island.
It'd be great when you get rescued too, to tell the story on all the talk shows about what happened on the island and how you got off. But fun point about that.
I apologize for jumping in there out of turn.
No, you're good.
But to touch on what Katie was saying before she gets back to that is the other day post training camp, we do our Zoom calls, and someone had their hand up and got called down at the very end, but they didn't have a question. They just forgot to put their hand down. So they said, "Oh, no question, but how was the drive down from Massachusetts?" Like, ha ha ha. And
As a joke.
And Driggs kind of chuckled. It was like, it was a good drive, and then there was a pause, and then he actually went into detail for about 2 minutes of what his drive was like down here. So that kind of sums up the guy, the Chris Drieger.
He gave us like a breakdown of like the driving situation and the rotation between drivers.
Between him and his girlfriend and
the pit stops and everything.
Whole schedule.
But I mean, like I was saying, he's just an awesome guy. And actually, ironically, I actually knew a guy who he's good friends with who was there the night he got that first
Once again,
shutout.
hashtag Katie's Connections.
Just, you hang out in hockey long enough, you meet a few people, but one of his best friends was actually there who he had played in junior with. So he had a really special night. And I remember the moment we got to interview him, and the true awe in his eyes was really special, because this wasn't a guy that, had any idea that he was about to go out and do something like this. So afterwards, getting to chat with him, he was just as excited and kind of shocked as we were. But like Doug mentioned, no surprise that he has the ability to do that. He's been through a lot. And Jameson, you mentioned it, all those points he got us, keep in mind, some of those were very difficult games, big games. He got us a win in Carolina that we had never won there in however many years. He got us that win when we were in Minnesota.
In St. Louis.
Last
game of the regular season. Massive.
So, I mean, these were not just 2 points against, anybody. These were big 2 points, and he just provided us that presence, and couldn't be a better guy to see it happen to. And obviously we're excited for Bob. I know he's going to come out and crush it, but it is wonderful to know Drieger's right there waiting in the wings if we need him.
And 2 more minutes here. We'll knock this out and then have our little post-episode wrap-up.
I'm happy for Driggs. I think he did play great, and he stepped up at the right situation and helped the team. So for my personal view, I'm working hard before. I work hard right now, and I will work hard. I'm happy that we're in the playoffs, but still I think I can give this team more. No one by himself can win any game or any series, so it's the group effort, and you have to pull the rope at the same direction. I think from the mind standpoint, everybody get used to that. It's a long season. You get so much time to get into it and to get back to your shape and stuff through the games. So, but this is a different situation. It's basically right away. It's a do or die situation. Next time on Panthers Uncaged.
We decided on a date that we thought works best for everyone to get back and give ourselves a week to
private jet party.
Get ourselves ready before training camp.
It's the only way to fly.
I miss the guys a lot, and I can't wait to get down there and see them.
So there it is, episode 3. Thanks for watching along. I know we got a little unwinding time here to kind of talk about things as a whole. Like you said, it's so fun to look back at this now, knowing that this all worked out. They made it to training camp. They made it to the hub city, and now here we are about to play some playoff games. And, knock on wood, hopefully making a deep run here. But we talked. I mean, for those of you wondering, behind the scenes when we had our meetings, we talked a lot about, what if something happens and none of this goes through? And we just kept chugging along, making these episodes. And it's really, really happy that everything, worked out. And so much work went into these. And, we're almost done here. We're almost done. Episode 4 is coming out here on Wednesday, and then episode 5 the week after, and then potentially an episode 6. So a lot of good stuff coming up. And then, it seems like everyone likes this. We've had a great reception. I know I personally would love to keep writing these and, working on these for seasons to come. So maybe this is something we can continue for a long time. But guys, obviously we talked a lot about this episode, the ins and outs, but now bringing it back to present day here a little bit. Just excitement here, playing the Lightning on Wednesday. It's a real hockey game. That's all I can say. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, we've got a game on Wednesday. Panthers are playing against an opponent coming up on Wednesday, and it's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning in an exhibition game.
Of course it's the Lightning.
It is the tune-up.
Eighth time this season.
This is the tune-up coming up here on Wednesday for the series that starts on Saturday. But I know we're incredibly excited. Billy Lindsay and I are excited to call the game coming up on Wednesday, and hopefully for a long time after that, through this postseason run. So yeah, hopefully everybody finds a way to chime in, tune in, and follow along. We've got a preseason show coming up tomorrow, and again, I know everybody out there is pumped. We're pumped. We can't wait.
And Katie, I got to put you on the spot first. The next time we do one of these will be next week. We'll be recapping episode 4, which is another great episode. Lots of good stuff there. Kind of focuses on Joel Quenneville getting back in the building, training camp ramping up. We look at the rookies, Owen Tippett, Eetu Luostarinen, all the guys like that. It's going to be a really fun kind of recap. But by the time we're doing that, there will be at least one playoff game in the books. Panthers Islanders Game 1, 4 p.m. this Saturday. Best of 5 series. We've been waiting for this for 4+ months. I gotta ask for score predictions right here, right now, because this video is gonna live forever on YouTube, and we could look really smart or really stupid for the rest of the time. So
we're predicting Game 1.
We're predicting Game 1 right here. Katie, score prediction Game 1, Panthers Islanders.
Oh, you know what? I'm so torn because part of me wants to be like, it's the first real game back and who knows what could happen. It could be a crazy scoring fest, but deep down, I just feel like it's going to be tight. So I'm going to have to go with a 3-2 Panthers victory.
You took mine.
Oh, great minds, Doug.
That's boring.
What?
So I think
overtime?
Wait, you're calling overtime?
I hope no overtime. Yeah. I couldn't take overtime in Game 1.
Katie's calling 3-2 overtime.
So I'm going to say I'll go overtime. I'll make it interesting.
I got to make mine a little bit different. 3-2 regulation. I'll say 3-2 regulation to keep it a little bit different. But I think in this series, even in the first game, even while the teams are trying to just get that feel out the tempo and everything, I think that this series you can't expect a runaway either way in these games. I think these are going to be tight games. I don't think you're going to see any 7-6 affairs during this series. I think if you can get to 3 goals in this series, the way these teams are going to play, with how much emphasis is going to be on structure and defense, I think the first team to 3 goals is going to have a good chance in all these games.
Doug, you said you can't expect a runaway, but let's look at the couple. Before I do mine, a couple of predictions here in the chat. Jay Frock says 5-2 Panthers. H. Quinn 4-3 Panthers. Ali 5-3 Panthers. So of course these are all Panthers W's. This is a Panther program. This is a Panther Twitch channel, a Panther chat. We're all feeling the cats here, but
or are we just smart?
A lot of goals there, but they're also spotting the Islanders a couple goals, and I'm gonna go a little bit more runaway, like Doug's saying, won't happen, but I'm thinking 4-1 Panthers. Ooh. And the main reason for that, I think, every game after the first game will be tight, but just with how, seamless a transition the Panthers have had into training camp, going through all this process, not shaking up the lines too much, everyone's healthy, whereas the Islanders, like we said, coming into the playoffs, I believe it's a 7-game losing streak heading to the pause. They have a couple more question marks. I don't think things are going to be too settled in that first game, and with all the weapons the Panthers have on offense, if they get a couple power plays, they're gonna bury a lot of them. So I'm going 4-1 Panthers Game 1, and of course, best of 5 series Game 1 means everything. So
yes,
once again, knock on wood, we'll be looking at these predictions next week. Hopefully, we're gonna feel very smart next week, but we'll see. Can't wait. But once again, great Panthers, Cats commentary here, something new we're trying. Yeah. Second time we've done this. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Had some great interactions. Great questions from you guys. 7-1 Panthers, says Zucro. If he's right, I don't know. We'll hook him up with something, because that's a bold prediction right there.
That's pretty demoralizing.
That is
Zucro's playing it on NHL. That's probably how it would end.
Yes, that's the NHL 20 prediction. That's a bold one.
And I gotta give a shout out to my guy Ben. He always joins us on these commentaries, and a little birdie told me it was his birthday. So
happy birthday, Ben!
Give the shout out to Ben. Love that he always joins us for these. And yeah, man, 7-1 though. That's a heck of a prediction. Jameson 4-1. Empty netter or no?
Nope, straight 4-1.
Okay.
That's what I'm feeling. I'm not gonna. Right. I'm not making player predictions, nothing like that. Just general score predictions. But once again, everyone, thanks for joining us here. Second episode ever of Cats Commentary. Looking back at episode 3 of Panthers Uncaged. Gonna have a lot more stuff going on here at twitch.tv/FLA Panthers. Gonna be doing some more gaming streams coming up. The CBJ Summer Cup. That's heating up right now. We're gonna have 2 streams of that this week, Wednesday and Thursday. I believe it's gonna be 9 to 11, 4 games each night. Doug Plagens, I believe, is joining me on Thursday. going to be the featured stream there that night. It's going to be a big day. It's a warm-up for him to get ready for the playoffs, calling NHL 20, getting ready for the real thing on Saturday. But already after the Lightning games, you'll have one game under your belt by then, but that should be exciting. Going to be a lot going on always here. And big news in the world of NHL 20 and 6v6 esports. Head on over to @FLA Panthers Game on Twitter. Check it out. Big news there tonight, and more to come on that. But until then, for myself, Jameson Olive, for Katie Gauls right below me and Doug Plagens right below her, thanks for joining us, guys. We love to see you. We love to chat with you, and we love talking Florida Panthers. We will catch you next time.